I just had to sit a spell with you all. My battery's about to die, so I'm not going to make this very long. I am Huffington Post contacted, I guess, a number of us witches of color, maybe other witches as well, to talk about Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And I saw Daisy talking about it, and I started watching it, and it didn't really, bother me one way or the other. But the more I watched this, I got through the first episode just like I got through the first episode of American Horror Story. And let me tell you, I gotta find some way to plug in my phone, because if this shit dies while I'm doing this with y'all, I'm gonna be real sad. Okay? It's about how, people want to talk about representation on television. And you guys have to forgive me. I'm getting a cord because I was so hot that I know I have the plug up here. Here it is somewhere. I was so hot, after saying that, American Horror Story, I did not watch after the first episode of Apocalypse. You couldn't have told me they would have the brass ass nerve of a monkey to do that Papa Legba bullshit again. And backlash means nothing to them. Sensationalism does. So I knew I wasn't going to revisit that series. And I thought Sabrina the Teenage Witch would kind of be like, like your Bates Motel, kind of creepy shit. But, y'all have to really understand the setup. And I'm not just talking about racially either. Because I want to talk about, Eartha Kitt too, as Catwoman, because somebody pointed out that she was a villain. But I'm watching this, and there are different forms of magic. No doubt that there are some severe, heavy-hitting occultists that work with some really unspeakable spirits. That's, but still, I don't know, the way they portray this shit on TV, I'm just like, you got to be kidding. And it's really sad, because what it is still a media scare tactic to keep people from wanting to touch and get into their higher powers. I talk to people every day about, I have certain abilities. I'm not using said abilities. And that's probably some real disgusting shit when you really stop to think about it. Because everybody's got gifts. Some people can sing their asses off. Some people can dance. Some people can sculpt. Some people can paint. And some people have spiritual gifts. Not everybody who is a member of clergy of any religion should be clergy. And the sad part of it is, too many are. And we see it in all religions. But there's a bullshit that they peddle on TV about witchcraft. There's blood magic. There are certain things you can do to certain people. Like, I really dug the spider spell, but it was, as usual, over the fucking top. And, it doesn't present a, like your average, I won't say garden variety witch. It is not. I saw Daisy posted earlier about the fact that these people, there were no dark-skinned people there, but, the black people in it were pretty ambiguous. And certainly not the most powerful people in the room. We got a brother that's been on house arrest for 75 years. Okay? And yeah, I guess he'd be light-skinned because that's her cousin. But seriously? That the main black central character is essentially, he's like a houseboy. He's doing the bloodletting of the embalming. He's not permitted to leave the house. And then, people always talk about black magic. I said, the only thing black about my magic is me. You can say shadow work, whatever, but you have to understand that the acknowledgement of the power of black people's magic has been very predominant since the beginning of time. And the dislike and the fear and the persecution thereof. So this is Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And I'm like, I got like halfway through it and thought it was going to be decent. And then it broke bad towards the end of the episode. And I'm just like, oh, shit, I like The Magicians better. I actually watched that a few times. And while far-fetched, it just wasn't insulting. I didn't even watch Charmed. I used to watch the old one back in the days before I was a practitioner. I probably watch it differently now, but it's just like Baphomet and the adversary, Satan, the devil, they're not the same. Just this crisscross mishmash, and maybe the witches that didn't have a problem with them depicting Papa Legba really fucked up might have a problem with this. I remember, there's a reason why Baphomet is posed to be this creature that strikes fear, so you won't even try to learn what he's about. It's just very, very, it's just insulting. I mean, and it paints, for most people who are practicing some form of the occult in this country, they ain't on that level. And, so, like I said, what they do is they mix shards of truth with a whole bunch of craziness. And I'm just sitting there like, man, I wish that's how this shit worked. Woo! But in any case, and I've been seeing some shit, and I've seen some shit happen to people, places, and things, and I don't know. I guess it's like the subtlety of life versus the, what sells in the media. I've known people that have been cursed and suffered, and some have died as a result of witchcraft, but it ain't really never like the shit you see on TV. And it's like, okay, I want to watch it and say this is entertainment. I really do. And I really don't care what people think about us, because it's kind of like, well, yeah, let people think it's unattainable, because this is not a life that's meant for everybody. I kind of get that. But it's like I mentioned Daisy, I was telling her, I'm having a real hard time going to Europe for a vacation, to tour Europe, because, I look at what built those countries. And when you talk about your classic white male patriarchy, it's very hard how I don't know how I can be like mentally present and black and still be able to appreciate whatever they find beautiful over there, because of how I know it's built. Just like things here, big, beautiful, old Southern homes, especially the plantations and even the White House. When we know that literal blood, sweat, tears went into building them. It's really hard for me to detach that part of myself from what I'm watching. So, if you can watch it as pure fucking entertainment and be good with that, that's cool. But then another interesting thing came up, and it made me just think about representation in the media. Yes, representation is important, but they are never ever going to really represent Black people, especially people who are magical and have special abilities, appropriately on TV. I don't know if that's even a good thing. Like I keep telling people, your knowledge is best. You won't catch me giving a lot of high level knowledge online, especially to anybody. That type of knowledge would be retained for my initiatory house. And so it's like I said, it's a little mind boggling, because I know some things that can be done and some things that can't be done, or I ain't seen done. And just because I ain't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So I'm not going to rule it out completely, but it's that particular show, the things that I witnessed in the first episode is like a hot ass pile of steaming garbage. And then talking about black superheroes. So my daughter in 2012 came to me and she's like, Mommy, where are the black superheroes? Because this is long before Black Panther, and I think the Green Lantern was black. I can't be sure because I'm not a real big comic book person. I like to go see the movies. I don't read comic books. Probably one of the few witches I know that don't. My best friend loves comic books, but they're okay. It's just not something that I'm trying to read. So we went through the girl from The Walking Dead and Storm and a couple of others, and they were men. And I was like, well, there's always Catwoman. And my daughter was like, yeah, but Catwoman was not a superhero. She was a villainess. Which then prompted me to take a walk down history and take a look at the character of Catwoman, the importance of Eartha Kitt being on television at the time in which she was. And the fact that she lost pretty much everything when she was blackballed by the CIA, basically ran her amok because she made Lady Bird Johnson cry because she was saying, yeah, but you guys want to send our babies over here to Vietnam to fight for this country when they're dying in their own neighborhoods. And she made her cry. And as a result, Eartha Kitt's career was never the same. That's a superhero. And I told somebody, I was like, I know she wasn't a superhero. And I put that up there on purpose because I know somebody's going to try to call that to my attention. Because we want to stop and talk about a superhero. You got a black woman in a place where very few black women have been able to tread. Diane Carroll, maybe, before her. Well, I don't remember anybody other than Diane Carroll before her, but I'm old. I might have forgotten some other black actresses. But Eartha Kitt was monumental and pivotal in her depiction of Catwoman. And I was saying also, yeah, she's a superhero. Because I'm sure there's some feminist studies somewhere about the black sister fighting the white male patriarchy. Okay? The revolutionary. And sexy and full of vast energy. I'm sure there's been a study somewhere about this. So yeah, you want to talk about superhero? Yeah, Catwoman, Eartha Kitt's Catwoman is a superhero to me. And that just speaks to our society in a lot of ways because we have to craft our role models based, and just like the real battle of emotion that comes in when you think about Killmonger and Black Panther, because I just see T'Challa selling out, and I see his brother being crazy, but I don't see his brother being wrong. And you have to understand, years and years and years and years and years and years of oppression will make you insane. I tell people, how we get stressed out when, paycheck to paycheck. I can honestly say before I started this business, I was just making it, with the day job, and still rich beyond measure compared to a lot of people, I believe. What they call this middle class in the United States is really very, very privileged. And, that stress that comes when you got $20 or your bank account is negative and you don't get paid for another 2 days. Think about if there's no paycheck coming. Just think about that for just a minute. There's no paycheck. You don't know where your next meal is coming from. You don't even know if you're going to have a roof over your head the next month. Think about the amount of stress that poverty does to people. And so in trying to communicate that to our government, Eartha Kitt became blackballed. Sometimes we'll see shows that are really just fucking awesome. Oh, God, there was this medical show on a few years ago. And the guy that's on, I forget the name of the show. It's a comedy. It's got like that Adam Sandler wannabe. I can't remember it. It's kind of like Reno 911, but it's not. It's in the Bronx. Andre Bauer. It was a medical show he was on. He was absolutely fucking regal and stupendous. And that show did not make it. You know, you really want to stop and look at some of the shows where we are prominent cast members that actually have longevity in television, like The Wire, Good Times. You know, I probably think that Family Matters was probably, you know, that in the Cosby Show, but fuck that now, right? You know, those two shows, you know, had longevity, and really, and Blackish is another one, showing us and talking about hard shit sometimes, but, you know, showing us for who we are. I mean, when I turned on the TV, I identified with them, and people kept talking about how that was so unrealistic. That the Cosbys were unrealistic, that Family Matters was unrealistic, that the Blackish is unrealistic. And I'm like, these are the people I hang out with. You know, I don't hang out with people that are from The Wire. I don't look down on them, but, you know, it's like, what do you mean it's unrealistic? Unrealistic to who? Whose reality are you talking about here? You know? And then the thing is, for those kids that are sitting in those situations of abject and extreme poverty to actually see somebody living a comfortable life. That should, number one, it's a falsehood, because I know way, way, way more of us who have worked hard and have decent places to live and jobs and things like that than the minority of the minority. And that is done, and it wasn't, you know what, and that was done in spite of them wanting us to stay in the ghetto and in that position. You know, when your whole life, every day is an uphill battle and it's a fight. So yeah, that would make Catwoman a hero for me. You know, fighting the white male patriarchy. I am sure if you guys can find some journal studies, please put the links down here at the bottom, because you know somebody somewhere is doing a journal study about a damn cartoon character. But sociologically speaking, it is important. So I just had to say that. I'm just like, you know, yeah, and I don't watch TV often either. And even I love HGTV, and I be wanting to kick them people in the face. Oh, it doesn't have a character I wanted. Well, bitch, you don't have enough money for what you want. You know, so that's why I started watching less and less television, so I could be less and less irritated. And I can't watch horror movies because, you know, like I said, just like this shit they got, this Sabrina Teenager, you see the spark of reality there. You also understand where they're turning it, where they're giving them this danger that is, for whatever reason, appealing to the American public, but they don't tell them the real danger. And that's how they get you. So I'm just like, you know, people are talking about, you need to have a reality show. And I'm like, well, the things that excite people who watch those types of shows, I don't think I have those in my life now. You know, when I open the store and crazy folks come in, I'm sure there'll be a lot of footage, but I'm talking about my life. You know, it is impossible for them to show someone with some goddamn sense who's a witch. My daughter was talking about a guy she works with the other night, and he's like a witch too. And he is all talking about all these conspiracy theories. And, you know, like I said, I kind of give a nod at stuff like that, because there's some stuff, it sounded crazy as hell, but you'd be like, well, things, you know, we find out later. You know, so you can't always just, like, write something or someone off as not right. You always got to pay attention. You know, just because I don't want to argue about something doesn't mean that I'm not paying attention to the other side. You know, nobody has to make that obvious for me. Rarely. I've had it happen a couple of times. But I tell my daughters to always be cognizant of their surroundings. So I'm one of those types of people, and I'm a Pisces, so I think in a goddamn circle. I'm looking at every part of this, but there's still parts of me that's going to say, that ain't right. Or, yeah, I get with that, you know? So we all shape our own realities. But as far as, like I said, it's just distasteful, you know? And no, I don't think we're ever going to get accurate depictions of voodoo, root work. I don't know if I want them, honestly. Or witchcraft in the media. And that's going to be because, you know, wow, it might actually sound like some shit you might want to do. It might do some stuff that make you feel better, change your life. It might actually get you off of the couch and from in front of the television where you out wildcrafting in the woods trying to find herbs and roots and things like that can do miracles. The funny part is, and I thought about this and I meant to put it up as a status, so I'm going to say it now so I can remember to make it a status. You know, I believed in miracles when I worshiped one God. You damn right I believe in miracles now that I worship many. And so, you know, it's crazy how they make some of the most simplified, boring, non-enlightened spiritual paths the safe bet. And it must be something about the laziness that is inbred within a human being. Because trust me, I was talking to my mambo, and it's about some things I needed to be doing. And, you know, and I'm just like, you know, and we're like that. It's like, I'm human today. Like today, with people calling with some dumbass shit when you can look at it on the internet, you know. But I also told one of my future godchildren, I said, you know what? I want to be left alone today. But guess what? When you are a priestess, you don't get left alone. When you are a clergy and you're someone's priest or priestess, you don't get left alone. If your family ain't there and your godchildren aren't there, your clients aren't there, your spirits is there looking at you like, oh, bitch, do you have time for us now? So people don't understand, and they will. It's not a defense because, like I said, you know, Humble told me innocent people die in voodoo every day. You know, some people walk around here and think that they're immune to being struck by somebody else's magic. That's why I don't be fucking with people and don't want people fucking with me. Because people do. Some people have some really evil ass consorts, some spirits that they hang out with that'll do a fucking number on you. And those people are usually energy vampires or just really miserable motherfuckers. They just, you know, the one thing that, when we talk about energy vampires, and I would love to see this shit in action, and I'm sure it's happened someplace magically, because this shit that they show you on TV, like I said, most of it's true. It's just twisted. But you know, these people literally suck the life out of people, and in Hollywood, they literally take over their bodies. And I'm positive this has probably happened somewhere. Just most of us probably will never see it happen. Okay, that's not to say that it hasn't happened, but the probability. But it is a metaphor for a bigger thing that, yes, if you put yourself in a certain position, like I said, telling too much of your business, exposing things that maybe you shouldn't about your spiritual practices, your altars, your ancestors, their names. Baby, think about that. And so, yes, you'll have to rewind. You know, there are lots of things in magic that are good and harmful, no doubt. And like they said in the Men in Black, they will tell you that it's fantasy long enough so you will not believe that it's true. But for those of us who practice, you can sit and pick in between the lines and see some of this stuff, and it's like, for real. Like, oh, she gave some really good root work, cleansing bath advice. That was pretty cool, you know. But I want to know how the fuck somebody actually projected her. Well, there was mirrors in the bathroom. I guess they could. Out of the bathroom into the goddamn forest, and she walking around naked. So we get to see Sabrina the Teenage Witch naked, getting out the tub. This is TV now. excuse me, and I must sound like an old fucking woman, but I grew up in the 70s and you couldn't even say the word bitch. You really couldn't. And it's not, I don't like policing language or anything, but it's just like, what extent will you go to get people's attention on some of the most baneful things? Let's think about that New York, it's not New York Undercover. It might have been, I don't know. But it had Jimmy Smits in it and this short guy. I can't remember his name. But anyways, it was a big deal because Jimmy Smits, they were doing either like a back nudity. And when the piano came out, the full frontal male nudity, where they've been showing women's tits and asses for decades. And everybody just keeps sleeping on this shit. You know, and it's, I mean, in the larger picture, and my mambo told me one of those things today, it's like, you know, the world really isn't as bad as most of us think it is, you know. And like I've told many people many times, most of the horrors that we subject ourselves to on a daily basis, most of you will never, ever probably come into contact with them. But that is done by design. Because out of sight, out of mind, you cannot be cognizant about the suffering of others unless it's put right in front of you. And it just would be real nice if people would tell the truth. But then, you know, the world would flip upside down, hell would freeze over, the cow would jump over the goddamn moon. But, you know, to be honest about what our practice is and what it is not, and what some people are actually capable of and what most people are not. You know, a lot of people, especially non-black people that want to get into ATRs and practice hoodoo, you know, they want that juice. Well, you got to have like that juice in you to have that juice. And, you know, there's a lot of people walking around here think they're white and they're not. So there may be some people out here that have that, but it is something that's deep inside you. Just like Ben Carson, he's like a juice box. He's juiceless, okay? And there are some people who, you know, just not by birthright, you know, means that you are going to be woke in the best interest of your people or spiritually in touch. And, you know, the black church has done a number on us. But TV has too, you know. So those two examples are something that was just mind-blowing to me, you know, because I was thinking about how much I hated this fucking TV show and hated what I first said to the woman from the Huffington Post because I was almost done with the first episode and then it just went to hell. And I was just like, no, this is some really fucking offensive shit on a lot of different levels. And it's a goddamn shame that you can't watch TV no more without being, and somebody else is talking about that. You know, we have become so politically correct that to even tell the truth can get you a 3D Facebook ban, you know, or to tell your own truth, which you should kind of be allowed to do in the United States of America, but hey, that's their platform. And everybody keeps saying they're going to make something else and don't nobody do it. That shit would probably be like the Wild Wild West, though. But Facebook isn't policing racists. They're policing people who tell the truth and fight for human dignity. That's the people I see getting. But maybe that's because those are my friends. Maybe I don't get to see all the racists that they're taking down. But I don't see it happening, especially when we point out things to them that are just blatantly horrible. And they say, we're good with it. You know, but say a particular gender is trash and watch them hit your account. So, anyways, just like Scandal, I stopped watching it. Oh my God, love that show. Love that fucking show. I just love the intelligence of that show. How to Get Away with Murder didn't work with me that way because I wouldn't have been rolling nobody's body in no goddamn drug. No, I wouldn't have even put myself in that position. So I get in situations where I'm watching something and the implausibility, and I believe in miracles, I believe in spirits, I believe in all kinds of angels and demons, and still can find some shit on television that is absolutely, totally, and completely fucking implausible to the point where it is not even entertaining anymore. It's a mockery. So, yeah, that's why I don't watch a lot of television. But I just wanted to come and tell y'all that, yeah, I saw this. And I saw several of you commenting on this show like it was good. And then, wait, this gets even better. I've seen y'all get mad about Papa Legba, but it is clear that you are still watching that bullshit. I looked at people's comments about the shit, and I'm like, wait a minute. But you watched it last week after they pulled this shit? See, the reality of the matter is they're not going to show you anything that you don't support. And when you watch it, you're supporting it. And so, if I see something that doesn't rub right with me, I'm out. Because there are enough things in this life to be upset about, offended by, bad, just fucking look at your president. Because he ain't mine. There's enough. I don't need a TV show to do that to me. Do you? So I'm gonna, yeah, that was American Horror Story. Look, and I really was G'd up to watch it. I figured they would never do no dumb shit like that again. I remember the night I got mad about it. Oh, I got called out. Oh, it's just TV. It's just entertainment. But now someone who is interested in Haitian voodoo, go Google Papa Legba and see what bullshit you come up with. And luckily, there's a few pages that talk about the differences between the two as a result of all this fuckery, but they're buried. So a person who, in typical human fashion, wants some quick and dirty information is going to grab that. They don't even bother to read the fucking Wikipedia article. When the Wikipedia article is more accurate than the imagery you see on the web, there's a problem. People talk about Wikipedia all the time, but you don't use the Wikipedia article. You use the sources at the bottom of the page. That's where you start. You can get a little basic overview. I like it because people can go in and challenge things and make edits. So in the end, it's going to be more independent and probably more truthful than anything else you can find on the internet. But there is research to back up people who are writing about particular topics, are scholars on the topics, and, there's nothing wrong with scholarship. That's another thing. Know your stuff. So, yeah, when I saw a black, bloody, slimy Baphomet being called Satan, crawling out the crack of a tree, I was just like, my eyes hurt. I could roll them so hard. So, yeah, it's a no from me. And, because it was very funny because I responded, answered the questions, and I said at that time, well, I just started watching it, but I haven't seen anything offensive so far. Obviously, they maybe might have been looking for this reaction because she was like, oh, thank you for your time. And I replied, I said, okay, I wasn't done with that first episode, and this is offensive as fuck. This is on so many different levels. And the thing is, okay, it's cool to get that, know that, and understand that. But think about all of the people that are watching this shit that have no clue. It's like, yeah, like I said, there are certain things that are in it that are very, 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 very factual, and I was impressed with a couple of them. And then there's some shit, and I'm just like, so yeah. I like that take it back spell though. That was pretty fucking cool. In any case, I'm going to bed because I'm so fed up with humanity. I don't even call it humanity. People of the human Homo sapien species today. I don't know what to do with myself. But, really, when we start talking about everybody's like real hype, and I understand that, even though I have some real heathen tendencies when it comes to eating healthy and stuff like that, and I love meat and all that good shit. But what about the stuff we put in our brain? Because if we are also to believe what we say we believe in, our mental conditioning is very, very important. People who have seasonal affective disorder, like myself, you'll have to do certain things, take certain vitamins and certain things to feel good when you're not getting any sunlight, okay? Some people are vampires, they don't need that, okay? But, But what you put in your brain is really as important as what you put in your body. That's why I always hate to see these damn voodoo and hoodoo books and they be on some bullshit. And it's just like somebody bought this and they spent some time reading this and they spent their good money and they actually, because they read it in a book, they believe it's true. And, you know, once you get really down into the craft, oh God, I do keep researching, keep reading. I'm reading right now Spiritual Merchants because I want to have a better idea of what this market has turned into. But we'll pay attention to what you are ingesting, because if you're somebody who's just now leaving the church and you're considering becoming a witch or a root worker or a voodoo sod or a santero or a palero, you know, you're making this big spiritual change in your life, and then you have this is like triggering setback with some of the bullshit anti-pagan propaganda that they put in the media. And it doesn't look like anti-pagan because we're so used to seeing it. It like I said, you tell somebody something's fantasy long enough, they'll believe that it's true. And so it's like they'll believe it's not true. So we've been looking at this type of shit for so long, it's become acceptable. And I'm just like, no. Let me go read about some real witches. Let me go read about some real fucking curses and how they worked when somebody used them on somebody. And let me go look at some of these old field journals from the WPA project. And let's look at Plunkett, and let's look at even James Baldwin and Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston and people who were actively involved in the occult, you know, during the time periods in which they were writing. If you don't think that when Langston Hughes and Arthur Bontemps put together the book of Negro folklore, you don't think they believed in any of it? Why would they put the book together? Come on now. So all of it, in the end, whether you're white or whether you're black, is the attempt to remove your divinity, to take your personal power, you know? Because all of us have the ability to do a lot of these things, strictly by the power of the ancestors and spirit of the root. But they will make it seem like you eating babies. And we're not the one eating the body and drinking the blood every week or month at Sunday service. Keep that in mind, too. Good night, y'all.